Well, folks, it's finally election night.
Which means the end is near to this long election.
And we'll be taking you inside Northeast Georgia elections.
Here on Grady Newsource, we will be giving you the latest.
Live updates on who's winning.
From president to congressman, to your state legislators under the Gold Dome.
And to referendums on the ballot and votes on your local taxes.
To the district attorney races.
To your local board of education.
Everything you would want to know about Northeast Georgia this election day
is going to be live here on Grady Newsource.
And on all our digital platforms.
We'll be reporting live across Athens, Clark County,
Barrow County,
Jackson County,
Madison County,
Oconee County,
Oglethorpe County,
and right here in studio as election results come in.
We'll also be reporting live on presidential watch parties, giving you the latest on which presidential nominee is ahead here in Georgia.
From the booth to your backyard, stay tuned to Grady Newsource for Inside Northeast Georgia elections. We'll see you tonight.
Good evening and welcome to Inside Northeast Georgia Elections, Grady Newsource's election night coverage. I'm Melanie Levy.
And I'm Will Hopkins. Tonight, our team will bring you live updates and results from 6 Northeast Georgia counties, insight from local political experts, and more.
Now, most polls closed just about an hour ago here in Georgia, and elections officials and poll workers are counting your votes.
Our team will be live throughout the night to bring you the most up-to-date coverage for the races you care about most.
So let's go ahead and meet our team. Tonight we have reporters live from 6 Northeast Georgia counties, including Athens, Clark, Madison, Barrow, Oglethorpe, Oconee, and Jackson.
Plus, we have reporters live from the Trump campaign's watch party in Atlanta and the ACC Democrats watch party at Little Kings Shuffle Club right here in Athens.
Throughout the night, we'll also bring you insight from our digital team with Brittany Holmes, our in-studio reporter, and Jake Brannon with our panel of political experts right here at Grady. You can also hear more full-length interviews on our podcasts anchored by Jordan Whitning.
Let's get started. Before we get into our coverage tonight, let's set the scene.
Well, Georgia has been in the public eye for months as a major battleground state that both sides of the political spectrum are really trying to win over.
Former President Donald Trump has visited Georgia numerous times as recently as this past Sunday. And Vice President Kamala Harris has visited quite a bit too. She was here this past Saturday in Atlanta, having already been to our state's capital just a few weeks before.
So why does Georgia matter so much, and why have both candidates visited the Peach State at least 6 times combined in the past few months?
Grady Newsource reporter Jill Ward has the latest.
In their vote in the vital battleground state, more than 4 million people voted early in Georgia this year. Both presidential campaigns have been pushing to win over Georgia. Vice President Kamala Harris and her running mate Tim Walz have been rallying in Atlanta over this past weekend. Former President Donald Trump also campaigned in Atlanta over the weekend, and his running mate J.D. Vance headlined a rally in Georgia just yesterday.
My friends, it is great to be in the great city of Atlanta, in the great state of Georgia, and tomorrow we're going to make Donald Trump the next president of the United States, so it's a good day.
So what is the big deal with Georgia? President Joe Biden's Georgia win 4 years ago made history with the first time that a Democrat won in Georgia since 1992. You heard that right. That's nearly 3 decades. Now, Georgia is up for grabs as one of 7 swing states in the nation. With a vital 16 electoral votes, both parties have fought hard to gain traction in the state.
So Atlanta, we have 3 days to get this thing done. And no one can sit on the sidelines. Let's spend the next 3 days knowing that when we look back on these 3 days, we will have no regrets about what we could have done.
A day before Election Day, the polls had Trump ahead by just 0.07 points, a narrow lead over Harris. In 2020, Biden won Georgia by less than 12,000 votes. So with that, the candidates all urge the same thing in their final push to clinch the state. Vote.
But ultimately, the ball is in the courts of the American people.
Jill Ward, Grady Newsource.
Let's take a look at some key factors influencing the state. Like Jill mentioned, Georgians have voted majority Republican since the 1990s. It was only in 2020 that the state turned blue, and by a super slim margin.
The Peach State has 16 electoral college votes, which could make a significant impact on who wins. That's why both Donald Trump and Kamala Harris have visited Georgia numerous times.
And like Jill said, Georgia is one of several battleground states the candidates have been fighting over tooth and nail this election. Now, we know the two presidential candidates have been working up to this night for months in Georgia and nationwide. Grady Newsource reporter Elizabeth Hunter is live from the Trump campaign's watch party at the Grand Hyatt in Atlanta.
Tell us what's going on out there.
Melanie, the event started around 7 p.m., but the excitement has really kicked off now that we have people on stage talking. South Carolina electoral votes came in just a couple of seconds ago, and actually, if you can hear behind me, they're playing a video of Trump on the screen talking at his latest rally. And when South Carolina came on and their electoral votes all went toward Trump, the crowd erupted in applause. It was like a roller coaster ride in here. Now I'm looking at the results right now for Georgia, and it says 56% of votes are going toward Trump and 43% of votes are going toward Harris, and that was updated at 8:02 p.m. Now, I'm very excited. This is the first time I've had something like this to cover, and I really want to thank our people for watching, for giving us the opportunity and trust to cover this, and we're going to stay here all night giving you the latest updates. Melanie, Will.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Now, turning to the other side of the aisle now, Grady Newsource reporter Sophie Strack is at a watch party here in Athens, Clark County, hosted by the ACC Dems at Little Kings Shuffle Club.
Sophie, how's the energy over there?
See, we've got pizza. We have the screen behind me, which has live coverage of the votes and the election results as they come in. Some notable figures here tonight include Lexi Doherty, a Democratic candidate running against incumbent Mike Collins to represent Georgia in the United States House. She says she's feeling good about the race, but she's just along for the ride at this point. We also have here Deborah Gonzalez, current district attorney of Athens, Clark County, which will be a highly contested race tonight. I talked to her tonight, and she said, what I like about it is if you don't have a contested race, then you don't have conversation. She says they're feeling good about the outcome of tonight's race. Mayor Kelly Gertz is also here. Athens Clark County Dems and Young Democrats of UGA spent today continuing to campaign. Stacey Abrams joined the Athens Clark County Democrats this morning in final efforts to get Athens residents to the polls. All eyes are on Georgia tonight as a swing state, so we'll keep you updated as the night goes on. Sophie Strack, Grady Newsource.
Thank you, Sophie. We'll be checking back in with both Sophie and Elizabeth throughout the night.
Georgia broke records this year for early voter turnout, with more than 4 million ballots cast by November 1st.
In 2020, this number was only 2.6 million, but how much could that really change this election?
Well, Grady Newsource reporter Nicole Collier spoke with a political science expert to tell you what this turnout could mean.
Georgia voters surpassed the 4 million mark on Friday, concluding the last day of early voting. 92 Georgia counties have exceeded the 50% turnout as of Saturday morning. This is unprecedented in Georgia's history, according to the Georgia Secretary of State's office. Dr. Charles S. Bullock III explains why there could be so many people voting early this election.
Donald Trump in the past has said, wait and vote on election day, don't show up early. Well, he's not saying that now. And so actually turnout is higher in Republican counties right now than Democratic counties.
Voters may not have to wait in long lines this election day.
You're not going to have any kind of lines probably on election day. So if we go back to 2018, 2016, where there were huge lines and people were there well into the night, because if you are in line at 7 o'clock, you do get to vote, no matter how long the line is. I don't think we're going to see that. I'd be very surprised we see much of that.
Charlotte Sosby, the Director of Elections and Voter Registration in the Athens Clark County Elections Office.
We're looking forward to Election Day, and we hope that everyone will take advantage of the early voting days.
Nicole Collier, Grady Newsource.
Early voting had a strong turnout, but many of you hit the polls today to cast your vote instead. Grady Newsource reporter Abigail Watts is live from the Athens Clark County Board of Elections.
Abigail, how has voter turnout looked in Athens Clark County?
I'm here at the Athens Clark County Board of Elections in one of 24 precincts. Early voter turnout has been high in Athens Clark County, and elections assistance. for Clark County as the most they've ever processed in a day. I'll continue to keep you updated as the votes come in.
Sorry for some technical difficulties, but we'll have more from Abigail and Barrow County throughout the night. Grady Newsource reporter Ryan Lynch is in Barrow County for their Board of Elections. And Ryan, how's it been today?
Concerned about making their voices heard. Another thing they're concerned about is voter safety. According to the U.S. Department of Justice, a man was arrested in Jones County for making a bomb threat against another poll worker. He has been charged with mailing a bomb threat, conveying false information about a bomb threat, mailing a threatening letter, and making false statements to the FBI. Now, that's in Jones County. Here in Barrow County, police have been stationed at every polling location to make sure people are safe. That's all I have for you now. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you for that, Ryan. And now we'll take you a little further south to Oconee County, where Grady Newsource reporter Holly Kate O'Brien is live from their Board of Elections office.
Holly Kate, what's going on out there?
I will. I am in one of 8 precincts here in Oconee County. Oconee voters had a lot to vote for in this year's election, including United States House of Representatives incumbent Mike Collins, and challenging him is Lexi Doherty, as Sophie mentioned earlier. Collins introduced the Laken Riley Act, which requires the Department of Homeland Security to detain certain non-U.S. nationals who have been arrested for burglary, theft, and shoplifting. As we know, Laken Riley was a UGA student and Augusta nursing student who was killed on UGA's campus earlier this year. On the other hand, Doherty stands up for promotion of rural economic development and the environment, and also equal opportunities for all Georgia residents. I just got word behind me that 71% of Oconee County's registered voters voted early in this election. And of those 71%, 71.64 voted for Mike Collins and 28.36 voted for Doherty. I'll be here all night reporting to you live from Oconee County. Holly Kate O'Brien, Grady Newsource.
Thanks, Holly Kate. Let's head back to Athens, Clark County with Abigail. How's voter turnout looked out there?
I'm here at the Athens Clark County Board of Elections in one of 24 precincts. Early voter turnout has been high for Athens Clark County this election, and elections assistant Lisa McLaughlin said that the day that early voter turnout opened set a record for Clark County as the most they've ever processed in a day. I'll keep you guys updated as voting results come in.
Thanks, Abigail. When we come back, we'll take you out to 3 more of our Northeast Georgia counties to get live on-scene updates on the races you care most about.
And we'll take a look at some of the most significant moments in history that all took place on election nights of the past. We'll be right back.
We scored? Yeah, we scored. We're going to the playoffs. I can't believe I missed that. Every time I'm buzzed, I spend too much time on my phone. What? I should take your phone away. No. I'll call for a ride. Hey, why does my face look like that?
I'm playing with these new face filters.
Okay, you know what? Yep, that's mine.
I'm gonna need that back.
No.
Kevin!
We scored? Yeah, we scored. We're going to the playoffs. I can't believe I missed that. Every time I'm buzzed, I spend too much time on my phone. What? I should take your phone away. No. I'll call for a ride. Hey, why does my face look like that?
I'm playing with these new face filters.
Okay, you know what? Yep, that's mine.
I'm gonna need that back.
No.
Kevin!
Welcome back to Inside Northeast Georgia Elections. It's time to head back out to our counties and bring you the local results that you've been waiting for.
Grady Newsource reporter Sarah Coyne is live from Oglethorpe County tonight to bring you the results as the ballots are counted. Sarah, how's it going there?
Hey, I'm in Oglethorpe County, and I don't know if you guys can hear it right now, but Crawford and Beaver Dam precincts have just come in to start the process of counting votes. Now, about 60.5% of the county has already voted early, either by in-person advanced voting or mail-in ballots. Now, that's about 6,967 out of the 11,358 active voters here. 428 ballots were counted through absentee, and 6,539 were casted in early voting. In this election, there are two local races that are with Democrats running. Now, that's going to be the County Commission District 2 with Andy Saxon, who is an incumbent Republican, and Jacqueline Bosby, who is a Democrat, and then County Commission Chairman Jay Paul, who's a Republican incumbent, and Patrick Kim Bonds, who is a Democrat. Every other local candidate, such as the sheriff, is a Republican. This polling location, which is the Board of Elections, was super active with voters coming in all the way up until closing. Results have come in from the Crawford precinct, but we're still waiting on the other precincts to be approved. That's all I have for you guys, but I'll be ready to give you guys results whenever they come in.
Thanks for that update, Sarah. Next on our local counties, let's head over to Jackson County. Grady Newsource reporter Christian Andrade is out there now to bring you live local election results. Christian, can you give us any numbers yet?
Thank you, Melanie. And actually, we don't got too many numbers in just yet, but there is a couple special countywide questions on this ballot. The first one has to do with a 1% T-SPLOS, which is Transportation Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax. And it's estimated to raise $200 million over the course of the next 6 years. So that's one of the countywide special questions. The other one is this homestead exemption House bill, which has to do with increasing tax exemptions for senior citizens. So yeah, that's the other one. Like the rest of Georgia, it's been a great turnout tonight here in Jackson County. But also like the rest of Georgia, there's a whole bunch of unopposed political races on this ballot sheet. I mean, yeah, on the sample ballot. But out of 47 political races, only 5 of them have opposing candidates. So, yeah, there's that. But regardless, I'll be here in Jackson County till every vote gets counted. Back to y'all.
Thanks, Christian. Heading over to Madison County, Grady Newsource reporter Sebastian Baggett is live at their Board of Elections office.
Now, Sebastian, I know that elections officials are busy right now counting the votes, but can you tell us what kind of an impact that early voting had on the turnout there today?
Thanks, guys. Well, actually, I was just speaking with Analyst Scott. He was here just now. He's running for the state Senate District 47. He was here to visit his wife, who's on the Board of Elections. And he was saying that the early voter turnout here in Madison County was massive, biggest he's seen in a very long time. Last election, he says it was about 30%. And this year it was 52.9% with about 11,049 votes. He says this will definitely have an impact on how long it takes the Madison County Board of Elections to count their votes. He says usually it takes them until about 9 o'clock, but that this year it will take them probably until 10 o'clock to get everything counted because there are so many more voters this year. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Sebastian. Bomb threats in Georgia, burned ballots in Washington state, and assaults on poll workers in Texas, plus a man wielding a machete in Florida.
Grady Newsource reporter Maddie McKinley is in studio with us tonight to talk about how local elections officials are working to ensure every voter can cast their ballot safely.
That's right, Will. Bomb threats in Fulton County today caused delays in evacuations at 5 polling locations. Take a look at this video from CNN News Source showing a few of those locations. Law enforcement was on the scene. The threats were later deemed non-credible and possible Russian origins. This afternoon, the Superior Court of Fulton County ruled that the affected locations could stay open past the statewide 7 p.m. cutoff to make up for the lost time due to those delays. All polls across the state are guaranteed to close by 8 p.m. at the latest. With these issues around voter safety in mind, another of our Grady Newsource reporters, Noah Bice, spoke with election assistant Lisa McGlawn to talk about what she saw during early voting and what efforts Athens Clarke County took to keep voters safe today.
Athens Clarke is a friendly county, and what we saw during early voting, even though maybe the rest of the nation, well, it seems like the nation is really poised to be prepared for some type of violence or just people being angry. We didn't see any of that during early voting, and we've already voted. Almost 50% of our voters have already come to the polls. Everybody seemed very happy to be there. So I would just tell people that I think that's what you're going to see on Election Day.
McGlawn also shared that election managers received two-way radios that connected to an emergency operations center. Throughout the day, managers were able to radio the center about any problems they had and were promised an immediate response from emergency services. For the most part, Athens Clarke County polling locations didn't face serious threats today. Back to you guys.
Thanks so much, Maddie. As part of our team coverage tonight, we have a roundtable of political experts here to offer their insights on what all of this really means.
Grady Newsource reporter Jake Brannon is with them right now in the Peyton Anderson Forum above us here at Grady. Jake, what do you have for us?
Ready. Thanks, Will and Melanie. Tonight, I'm here. My name is Jake Brannon, and tonight I'm here with two of UGA's leading political experts, Dr. Audrey Haynes and Professor Joseph Watson. Dr. Haynes is an expert on political campaigns and messaging, something used extensively by both the Harris and Trump campaigns, and her work has been featured in some of America's leading political science journals. Professor Watson has decades of experience in public affairs and served in the George W. Bush administration and on Capitol Hill as a staff member of a United States Senator. Back to you guys.
Thanks so much, Jake. It was really insightful, and we are excited to hear from them as the night goes on. We'll be returning to the forum to hear from them and to hear from you.
And now let's move on and check in with two of our digital anchors tonight. Jason Singh and Shad McMillan looked at some of the big moments in history that changed the way we run our elections today.
And how some of that history is based right here in Georgia, including how old you have to be to cast your ballot. Take a look.
On
in
1943, and then it goes away. And although, you know, butterflies are good.
But they also had other concerns on their minds. Voting rights. Georgia led the nation in lowering the qualified voting age to 18 years old. This paved the way for what would ultimately become the 26th Amendment, ratified in 1971.
If you're old enough to fight, then you're old enough to vote.
I'm Jason Singh.
I'm Shad McMillan, Grady Newsource.
Thanks, guys. After the break, we'll take a look at what's been happening on the University of Georgia's campus this election season.
Plus, we'll show you which of your favorite celebrities are endorsing the presidential candidates this year and how much impact it might have had as the results are counted. We'll be right back.
Foster care. I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far. A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
Thank you.
Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
You're home before sunrise. On top of the house, the kids, and our future. The smell of your cooking is our alarm clock. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's start saving a little more now so we can feel prepared for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need so we can live our lives to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far. A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
Thank you.
Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
You're home before sunrise. On top of the house, the kids, and our future. The smell of your cooking is our alarm clock. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's start saving a little more now so we can feel prepared for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need so we can live our lives to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Welcome back to Inside Northeast Georgia Elections.
Voters had a lot of issues to consider when casting their ballots this election, but some are more important than others.
We turn back to Maddie McKinley live in the studio to tell us more about which issues have taken center stage in 2024.
On immigration, Trump said he would launch the largest deportation operation in U.S. history, using military support at the southern border and eliminating protections for certain immigrants. Harris claims she'll back a bipartisan bill to strengthen border security that advance drug detection technology and more agents. On abortion rights, Harris vowed to reinstate federal protections, allowing women the right to choose nationwide. Trump, who supported the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, opposes a national ban but favors a 15-week limit on abortion, aligning with conservative values. For the economy and taxes, Harris focused on middle-class relief, cutting taxes, and lowering living costs. Trump aims to extend his 2017 tax cut benefiting the wealthy and proposes high tariffs on imported goods to reduce U.S. dependency on China. These different approaches will shape the future of America based on the election winner.
Thanks, Maddie. Now, even though you probably recognize the names Donald Trump and Kamala Harris on your ballot this year, there may be a few that you're unfamiliar with, like Chase Oliver.
Yep, Chase Oliver is this election's Libertarian Party nominee, and he actually lives in Atlanta.
Yes, he does. Now, he's only 38 years old, but has a pretty significant background in politics. It started in the early 2000s when he opposed the war in Iraq under George Bush, but he officially aligned with the Libertarian Party in 2010.
The Libertarian Party states that they oppose gun control, do not support the death penalty, support legalizing sex work, and believe the government should not fund children's education, among other stances.
Over the last few months, UGA's campus has been filled with canvassers and volunteers campaigning on behalf of one candidate or the other.
I had the opportunity to look at the impact that these volunteers, as well as other campaigning tactics like advertising, could have on tonight's election results. Take a look.
If you've walked through the University of Georgia's campus and the surrounding downtown area, you've likely seen political campaigning over the last few weeks. They're hard to avoid on TV too. WANF in Atlanta sold 378 spots total to the Trump and Harris campaigns for the span from last Monday to Election Day. These spots in total cost the campaigns just under $250,000. A lot of political ads do endorse a particular candidate, but according to one UGA political science lecturer, ads for a candidate are not all that different from encouraging people to just vote.
While campaigns exist to sometimes change people's minds, a lot of what they're geared towards is trying to change voter turnout.
So that's our focus today. One person tabling on campus at UGA shares a similar rhetoric. Talking to people, making sure they're going to vote. Kellen Salome is volunteering at the table displaying Harris Walls signs, but he knows a lot of campaigning is just about getting voter turnout, whether it's him or an ad on TV.
I also think that the ads can have a strong purpose in helping people get out to vote in the first place. I don't think this election is necessarily as much about converting people.
There seems to be more Democratic campaigning, like this event with Senator Jon Ossoff, than Republican campaigning on and around UGA's campus. Is that the case? And if so, why?
They know there are more Democratic votes here at the University of Georgia, and so they know these are the people that they're trying to motivate to turn out.
While Democratic support has been more consistent both on campus and in the nearby downtown Athens area, there was a large event for conservative activist Charlie Kirk here at the Tate Plaza. There were hundreds of people in support and Make America Great Again hats that were passed out at the event. Dr. French told me that Kirk's stance is that the college environment is more pro-Democrat, and he saw this event as an opportunity for more conservative students and people to have their voices heard and hear a voice that they more agreed with. Remember though, events like this, commercials, tabling, and other campaigning are much more about just getting people to vote than trying to change people's opinions.
Now, whether or not those campaigners and the ads actually convinced UGA students to vote is another story. But one issue in mind for some college-age adults is student loan debt forgiveness.
Grady Newsource reporter Sebastian Baggett took a look at this issue.
While watching the results of the 2024 election come in, college students may be wondering what the result will mean for the future of student loan forgiveness. But UGA student Trevor Wong thinks otherwise.
The position on student loans did not influence, most because I don't have student loans, it didn't really influence my decision. I think more of my upbringing and what I consider more important about the candidates affected that, as well as the previous elections from 2016 to 2020 also impacted how I saw the two candidates.
Wong's decision to not focus on student loans when voting is very similar to the strategies of the 2024 presidential candidates, as neither Harris nor Trump have focused on student loans themselves in their campaigns. UGA professor Dr. Michael Lynch elaborates.
I don't know that there's a lot of policies that either campaign has focused on and trying to specifically turn out younger voters. People who don't go to college, the idea that someone who did go to college when I didn't gets their loans waived when I didn't even get the chance to go to college is something that's not popular.
In addition to the fact that neither candidate has focused on student loans in their campaign, it's unlikely either candidate would or even could take action regarding the issue. Some might think that because Biden forgave a large amount of student loans while Harris was vice president, she would be inclined to follow suit. Lynch continues and explains why this is not the case.
I mean, it's kind of a moot point because the courts have basically said, no, you can't do that. And the only other way you could waive the loans would be to go through Congress. And I don't think it matters whether Harris or Trump wins. I can't see Congress working together enough to pass legislation like that. They'd need, you need bipartisan support in the Senate, and that's probably not going to happen. So,
Sebastian Baggett, Grady Newsource.
Now, let's take a look over at Oconee County, where Grady Newsource reporter Holly Kate O'Brien is live from their Board of Elections office, where votes are completely reported.
Holly Kate, what's going on out there?
Hey, as Will and mentioned, we have received all 8 precincts here in Oconee County. I'm standing here with Jay Hanley, chairman of the Board of Elections here. Jay, how did we get done so fast?
Well, we just have very, very great poll workers, great election staff, very, they all know their jobs, they know what to do. So we're done.
And how do you think that, when do you think that you will certify all of these votes?
Everything will be certified on Friday afternoon.
Gotcha. And how many people voted here in Oconee County?
Let me see, I can give you the total right now. All right, that will be, the turnout was actually 86%, and so that was 27,661 votes.
Wow, and how many is that out of your county population, roughly 34,000?
Well, we actually have 32,000 registered voters, or active registered voters, and so it's 86%.
Gotcha. And so would you say that the voter turnout was high this year in Oconee County?
Very much so. We always have one of the highest turnouts in the state, and this year was no different.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Jay Henley,
Certainly.
and we appreciate your time.
Certainly. Appreciate
Back
y'all.
to y'all in the studio. Thanks.
Thanks so much for that huge update, Holly Kate. Now let's get back to Atlanta at the Trump campaign's watch party.
Elizabeth Hunter is live there right now. Elizabeth, how's the scene out there?
Well, the speakers started kicking off at 8 p.m. and we've heard a bunch of passion speeches, but most notably from Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones and Senate Majority Leader Steve Gooch, both saying that Trump was going to take back America again, and thanking everybody. They especially thanked Charlie Kirk and Turning Point, who actually came to UGA about 2 weeks ago to try to get UGA students to vote for the Republican Party. Now, there is one thing I want to make sure I touch on, and that's the security that is at this event. I don't know if you can see behind me, but there is a security guard, and he's been monitoring the media. And actually, the GBI has been walking back and forth in the hallway outside. And it's not surprising that we're seeing security here, seeing as Trump underwent 2 assassination attempts. So it's not surprising that they want to keep the Republican Party safe. Now, I will say that security has been ramped up in precincts across Georgia. I've talked to multiple poll workers who say that instead of having police officers stationed outside, they've been having them stationed inside. I talked with political expert Dr. Audrey Haynes. This is what she had to say.
That's the expectation. There might be some violence. You always worry about what you haven't done, and it's like you don't really want to have regret if something does happen and someone is hurt.
Change the trajectory of this country. We're going to do that. We're going to put that Trump train back in the White House with Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. By God, we'll get this place back.
Now, I do want to give an update on how it's looking in Georgia. As of 8:33 p.m., according to the Secretary of State's website, Donald J. Trump has 55% of the Republican votes, and Kamala D. Harris has 44% of the votes. Back to y'all.
Thanks so much, Elizabeth. We'll now head to the Athens-Clarke County Democrats watch party in Athens.
Sophie Strack is there right now. Sophie, what's the update over there?
Yeah, spirits are high here as we start to see some of the first results come across from across the country. Viewers here have expressed some nervousness, but overall the mood seems pretty optimistic. Throughout the campaign, the Harris-Walz campaign is focusing on many hot-button issues, such as abortion rights, gun violence, and the economy and taxes. I spoke with some locals here about what drove them to the polls and why they came out to this party tonight. Athens resident Aubrey Neal said the issue of reproductive rights and general freedoms brought her to the polls this election season. When asked about why she decided to come out tonight, she said, "I was excited to come and be surrounded by like-minded people. You know, you don't want to be alone. You want to be with people you feel like kind of support how you think and feel to celebrate together." Over the past couple of weeks, both Harris and Walz have focused their attention on states like Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, North Carolina, Arizona, and here in Georgia. Grady Newsource, Sophie Strack.
Thanks so much, Sophie. Now, before we head out to the Athens-Clarke County Elections Office, let's check in on a clerical issue found just over a week ago.
That's right. Grady Newsource reporter Savannah Hernandez spoke with the staff at the Athens-Clarke County Elections Department after they sent out a second ballot to over 700 voters. Here's what they had to say.
Hundreds of Athens-Clarke County voters got a surprise in their mailboxes, a second absentee ballot. Charlotte Sosby, director of the Elections Department, says a clerical error caused the mix-up.
Then we started to get more phone calls, and so it prompted me to do a little more research, and that's what I discovered.
Sosby discovered some absentee ballots requested on October 8th were processed again on the 9th after being uploaded twice. This caused about 725 voters to be listed again in the statewide Georgia Registered Voter Information System, JARVIS. Sosby says that a vote will never count twice because absentee and in-person ballots are linked to individual voters through state identification. Even if a voter receives an extra ballot, safeguards in the state and local systems ensure only one vote is counted.
If that voter shows up again with another absentee ballot, which would be the second absentee ballot that was issued, then the system wouldn't allow us to accept it. So that ballot's marked canceled.
Dr. Trey Hood, a UGA professor and expert in election administration, says these kinds of errors, while uncommon, can have impact on voter confidence.
This is obviously an accidental mistake that occurred. You know, sometimes, especially more recently in time, we see some conspiracy theory just appear, you know, almost instantaneously, and then it gets spread, especially through social media, very quickly. I think Clarke County did what they were supposed to do, and that is being transparent.
The department has directly contacted affected voters through mail, email, phone, and social media to inform them about the error and provide guidance on handling the extra ballot. Also, voters can track their absentee ballot status on Georgia's My Voter Page website. To prevent this from happening again, the Elections Department has implemented additional procedures. Now they will create a master list of issue dates to process and filter out duplicate names. The department hopes these efforts reassure voters that every ballot is safe, secure, and counted only once.
I think it's important that our voters, our community understands the process so that they know for certain that their vote is secure and that we are running a tight ship here.
Now let's head over to Grady Newsource reporter Abigail Watts, who is live from the Athens-Clarke County Board of Elections office.
Abigail, what's it been like as they count the votes over there tonight?
Voting results are just starting to come in here in Athens-Clarke County. Our last update had Donald Trump at 421 votes and 1,311 for Kamala Harris. However, there are still many votes to be counted. For some county context, Athens-Clarke County has been largely Democratic, as in the last presidential election, Biden won the election with 70%. And so we'll keep continuing to look at the voting results and keep you posted.
Thanks, Abigail. After the break, we'll share how some of your favorite celebrities' endorsements could change the election's results.
Plus, we'll head back to our counties to bring you the most up-to-date results. We'll be right back.
During high school, I hung with the wrong crowd and I never graduated.
I helped Santiago in many different ways, like all fathers do, because he always wanted to go to college.
I felt a little embarrassed to come back to school, but eventually, once I came here, I knew that it's for a bigger goal.
He was very dedicated, hardworking. He connected with his teachers. He connected with other students. That was one of the key reasons why he was able to keep forging ahead.
It was amazing to see him graduate. This was one thing that meant so much to him, and of course, it meant so much to us too.
With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed. That support is everything.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far. A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
The Dutch. Thank you.
Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
During high school, I hung with the wrong crowd and I never graduated.
I helped Santiago in many different ways, like all fathers do, because he always wanted to go to college.
I felt a little embarrassed to come back to school, but eventually, once I came here, I knew that it's for a bigger goal.
He was very dedicated, hardworking. He connected with his teachers. He connected with other students. That was one of the key reasons why he was able to keep forging ahead.
It was amazing to see him graduate. This was one thing that meant so much to him, and of course, it meant so much to us too.
With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed. That support is everything.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far. A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
The Dutch. Thank you.
Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
Welcome back to Inside Northeast Georgia Elections.
Let's take a look at the digital side of things. Digital reporter Carmen Morrison has more on how the election has impacted social media.
She's just a little low.
Sorry for the technical difficulties. We'll try to get back to Carmen in just a second.
Moving on, some young voters may keep up with how their favorite celebrity may vote this election. Grady Newsource reporter Maddie McKinley is in the studio with us now to talk about what today's biggest stars are saying. Maddie?
Donald Trump's Madison Square Garden rally attracted a lot of attention last week after comedian and podcaster made some controversial jokes. This comedian, Tony Hinchcliffe, spoke alongside Dr. Phil, Tucker Carlson, and other familiar faces. These are just a few of the celebrities that have endorsed Trump on the campaign trail. In the Harris camp, numerous public figures have supported her candidacy, including prominent Republican Liz Cheney. Earlier this week, comedian Will Ferrell also released an ad for Harris. But perhaps one of the most monumental Harris endorsements was Taylor Swift. Just 24 hours after Swift's Instagram endorsement, identifying herself as a childless cat lady, over 400,000 people registered to vote. And all of this just hype, or can the celebrity endorsement really sway an election? Celebrity involvement in presidential campaigns is nothing new. In the 1960s, Frank Sinatra supported John F. Kennedy. In the 2000s, Oprah Winfrey backed Obama. Since then, the bridge between entertainment and politics has only grown shorter. Beyonce, for instance, allowed Kamala Harris to use her song Freedom as the official campaign song. During the Democratic National Convention, we saw big names like The Chicks, Pink, and Mindy Kaling, each appealing to different generations of voters. The Republicans also brought some of their heavy talent. Some notable guests included Amber Rose and Lee Greenwood, among others. Charlie XCX tweets stating that Kamala is brat propelled Harris's support among young voters. On the other side of things, Donald Trump has tapped into the streamer world, with Aiden Ross in the podcasting world visiting Joe Rogan for chats appealing to young men. But not everyone's picking a side. Though she called for a phenomenon, Chappell Roan refused to endorse Kamala Harris or any candidate for that matter. This sparked an internet debate about whether celebrities should get involved in politics at all. A Harvard study found that celebrities are particularly influential among young voters, not just as a popular figure, but as a go-to source for news and opinions. With a single post, they can include massive voter engagement, motivating first-time voters to hit the polls. We'll see how impactful these endorsements turn out to be as results come in this evening. Back to you guys.
Let's head back out into our counties, starting in Barrow.
Ryan Lynch is out there live to bring you the results as they come in. Ryan, what's up?
I apologize for that. We'll move on for now. Hopefully we'll get back out with Ryan Lynch. But now we'll head over to Sebastian Baggett in Madison County, where he's live at their Board of Elections office. Sebastian, how was the turnout today?
Hi guys, it was pretty good today. But as far as the votes for Madison County are going so far, Donald Trump currently has 9,124 votes. Kamala Harris has 2,549. The statewide referendum has 7,535 votes for yes and 3,535 votes for no. Now, I was just talking to Lamar Dalton earlier. He is the tax commissioner here in Madison County, and he was telling me that Madison County only has 3 contested positions on their ballot this year. They're the Board of Commissioners, District 1, where Dennis Adams is currently winning with 1,861 votes. The State House, District 123, where Rob Leverett, a Republican, is leading with 5,739 votes. And the State Senate, District 47, where Frank Ginn is currently beating Colin Scott with 8,585 votes from Madison County. Thank you.
Thank you for that update, Sebastian. And now we'll move over to Jackson County, where Grady Newsource reporter Christian Andrade is live to bring you local election results.
Christian, what do you have for us?
Thanks, guys. Yeah, so all the absentee ballots are now in here in Jackson County, which actually happens to be most of the votes in Jackson County. Over 37,000 people mailed in a ballot this year, which is over 60% of the entire registered voting population. So, yeah, I heard that about over 10,000 showed up here in person tonight. So we're still waiting on those votes to get counted. But I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about this special election we got going on for a U.S. House of Representatives District 9 seat between Republican incumbent Andrew Clyde and Democrat candidate Tambray Cash. So, yeah, Andrew Clyde, being the Republican here in Jackson County, dominantly Republican, is off to a quick lead for that District 9 seat. But a wise man once told me that you can never underestimate the power of cash. So, back to y'all.
Thanks so much, Christian. Before we go any further, let's check in on the big races in another of our Northeast Georgia counties.
We apologize for that. Let's head back to our digital team. Carmen Morrison has more on how the election has impacted social media.
We've been monitoring X, formerly known as Twitter and Google, throughout the day to get a sense of what people are talking about and searching for. Around noon, hashtag Election Day was trending #1 on X, while people were encouraging others to get out and vote, sharing photos of the voting experience, and sharing opinions about the 2024 election. Around noon on Google, who is winning the election, election map, election day results, and when do votes start getting counted were some of the most searched trends. Here in Georgia, if you voted early, a new law required early voting ballots to be counted by 8 p.m. today. Polls closed at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. However, if you were in line by 7, you can still vote. On X around 4 p.m., 4 of the top 5 trending topics were related to politics. Over 1.4 million posts were made with the word voted included. Around 4 p.m. on Google, election coverage, Kamala Harris, and Donald Trump all spiked around the same time and had at least 1 million searches each. 2024 U.S. election results have spiked within 1,000% within the last 6 hours. We're seeing many searches for various election results, including in Florida, Pennsylvania, and Ohio. Hashtag election 2024 has been trending throughout the day on X. Currently, we're seeing overlap with trending topics between the two platforms, with multiple states trending, including Georgia. With those conversations centered around polling location challenges and election outcomes, we will continue to monitor what people are searching and the conversation surrounding this year's election.
Thanks so much, Carmen. While the presidential race is top of mind for many tonight, there are also other local races with high stakes.
That's right. In the Western Judicial Circuit, which includes Athens, Clarke County, which is where we are right now, the district attorney race is heating up. Deborah Gonzalez, the incumbent Democrat, faces a serious challenger in Kalki Yalamanchili, who is running as an independent.
Gonzalez has faced numerous lawsuits this year. One civil suit alleges that Gonzalez violated the Open Records Act by asking an employee to destroy records. Just weeks ago, the Georgia Supreme Court decided unanimously that the lawsuit could proceed despite Gonzalez's claims of immunity. Another lawsuit by a local business owner accused Gonzalez of violating his freedom of speech rights by deleting his Facebook comments. This suit was settled. These are just a few of the controversies Gonzalez has faced during her tenure as DA.
Kalki describes himself as a nonpartisan candidate. He is an adjunct professor of law at UGA and spent more than 5 years as an assistant district attorney in the Western Judicial Circuit before transitioning to private practice. He announced via Facebook that he will be spending the evening at Big Dogs on the River in Athens for an election watch party with his local community. Now, we can see that results are beginning to flood in for the Western Judicial Circuit race.
Absentee ballots are the only votes being reported in Athens, Clarke County at this point, so take these numbers with a grain of salt, but right now Gonzalez leads Kalki by approximately 8 percentage points.
And that race is just one of the big ones that's on the ballot tonight. But let's find out what our analysts have to say about it.
Jake, do you have any thoughts about our DA races here in Georgia?
Apologies for my mistake earlier. First off, thank you both so much for being here. I know you're busy. Your time is appreciated so much. I've been thinking, since this is my first time really closely following politics and especially the presidential election, and I know there are millions like me my age across the country, and I would just like to ask both of you, do you think this election has been going about how election night normally goes, or is there anything different? I'll start with you, Dr. Haynes.
Well, I would argue right now that things are kind of par for the course. We've saw elections really being facilitated across the country with relatively few mistakes, and people flowing through the process, and really actually maybe some of the things we learned after 2020 and have made the process a little bit better. So right now, as we're looking at the maps changing, things are basically going the way they've gone in the past, I would argue.
Would you agree with that, Dr. Watson?
I would agree. I don't think we've seen any major surprises here. Everything's coming in, tracking with expected times. So this is very much par for the course. I think it'll be a little bit later before we discover whether or not there have been some aberrations or some things that are taking longer to be decided than we think they should. But right now, the patterns that we're seeing are pretty reflective of what we've seen in the past.
Thank you. Back to you guys.
Thank you for that insight, Jake. Let's check back in with digital anchors Chad McMillan and Jason Singh.
They looked at how the weight of your vote has changed depending on where you live in Georgia.
We all know that the state is separated into districts during voting season, but did you know that your district used to impact the weight of your vote?
The county unit system had been in place in Georgia since 1898. It was formally passed by the Neal Primary Act in 1917.
There were 3 separate types of counties: urban, town, and rural. Urban counties received 6 votes, town counties 4, and rural 2.
This meant that rural counties outweighed urban districts like Atlanta, as there were more rural counties. This system was in place all the way until the Gray versus Sanders lawsuit ruling in 1962. One man, one vote. I'm Jason Singh.
I'm Chad McMillan, Grady Newsource.
After the break, we'll check back in with more of our counties.
Plus, we'll tell you how this election compares to 2020. We'll be right back.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college,
Jared,
learn new instruments,
Big Dog's getting a shout out was
start
not on my bingo
skateboarding.
card.
Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
My Shiro doesn't always wear a cape, but she always has time for a hug, a smile, for going the extra mile. My Shiro stretches every dollar, puts in long hours, puts others first. But now it's your time, Mom. When you're ready to retire, we want you to be able to enjoy it. It's time to start saving now. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
My Shiro doesn't always wear a cape, but she always has time for a hug, a smile, for going the extra mile. My Shiro stretches every dollar, puts in long hours, puts others first. But now it's your time, Mom. When you're ready to retire, we want you to be able to enjoy it. It's time to start saving now. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Welcome back to Inside Northeast Georgia Elections. Let's check in with Grady Newsource reporter Ryan Lynch at the Barrow County Board of Elections office.
Ryan, what can you tell us?
Thanks, guys. Here in Barrow County, we haven't seen too many results yet, but I want to call your attention to something else on the ballot tonight. Like in Jackson County, there is also a homestead exemption on the ballot tonight. The homestead exemption will lower property taxes for homeowners, but how this proposed legislation will apply depends on the homeowner's exact age and income. In an election where tax changes are such a hot topic, this could be very important to senior citizens here in Barrow County. That's all I have for you guys now. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks for that update, Ryan. This election is shaping up to be unlike any we've seen before. Recent polling suggests a tight race full of uncertainty.
Comparing to the 2020 election, though, we're seeing some similarities. Grady Newsource reporter Maddie McKinley is in studio with us to tell us more.
In 2020, Joe Biden's narrow victories in battleground states like Arizona, Georgia, and Pennsylvania were super crucial. Those same states are in focus again today. To add to the unpredictable nature of this election, a recent poll from the Des Moines Register shows that Iowa, a typically red state, favors Harris by 3 points. While this doesn't guarantee a win, it's a surprising shift that breaks trends, suggesting that this election could be as close and unpredictable as ever.
Thank you, Maddie. Now let's head to Athens, Clarke County, where Abigail Watts is live with updates from their Board of Elections office.
Abigail, how are things looking there? It appears we're having some technical difficulties with Abigail, but we'll try to get back to her soon with some more updates from Athens, Clarke County. Now we'll head to Oglethorpe County with Sarah Coyne. Sarah, what updates do you have?
Hey guys, so all the results are in across the 3 precincts, Crawford, Beaver Dam, and Lexington, where I am right now. The energy has been super exciting as votes have been counted, and here are the results. Donald Trump has won by 70.92%. Mike Collins has won by 72.92%. Trey Rhodes for District 124 House of Representatives has won by 72.32%. And County Commission Chairman has won, Jay Paul, who is the incumbent Republican, has won by 68.18%. And the District 2 County Commissioner, Andy Saxon, incumbent Republican, has won by 73.8%. Now, if anything changes, I will let you know, but that's all I have for you guys. Back to you.
Thank you for that really important update, Sarah.
We'll now go live to Oconee County, where Holly Kate O'Brien has some numbers for us from the Board of Elections office. Holly Kate?
Hey, as we heard earlier, have heard from all 8 precincts here in Oconee County. We heard earlier as well that there is a close race for the district attorney. And here we've heard from official results in for our district attorney. And they're saying that Kalki, Yalom, and Chile won with 76.51% of votes, compared to Deborah Gonzalez with 23.49% of votes. And here in Oconee County, that's all from me from right now, but I will be here. Grady Newsource, Holly Kate O'Brien.
Thanks so much, Holly Kate. Whether you visited the polls today or in the weeks of early voting, you likely used an electronic voting machine to cast your ballot in person.
But did you know that Georgia was on the forefront of that initiative at its start? Grady Newsource reporters Shad McMillan and Jason Singh have more on Georgia's role in our nation's voting history.
Nowadays, you'd expect each polling location to have an electronic voting machine, but obviously that wasn't always the case.
In 2002, the state of Georgia began using the AccuVote TS machine, becoming the first state in the nation to adopt standardized, statewide, direct recording electronic technology.
Now when you complain about electronic ballots, you can thank Georgia. I'm Jason Singh.
I'm Shad McMillan, Grady Newsource.
Appreciate it, guys. On top of our regular content, we also have a team of digital reporters bringing you the most up-to-date results throughout tonight.
And digital reporter Jordan Whitning is podcasting throughout the night on SoundCloud. He'll be bringing you interviews with our expert panel, live coverage of the results, and a lot more. We're now going to head back to Athens, Clarke County, where Abigail Watts is live with updates from their Board of Elections office.
Abigail, how are things looking right here in Athens, Clarke County? Apologies, it seems we're still having some issues over there, but we'll get back with Abigail soon. After the break, we'll also get an update on some national results.
Plus, one Newsource reporter went to campaign rallies for both Trump and Harris in their most recent visits to Georgia. We'll show you what was learned.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
You're home before sunrise. On top of the house, the kids, and our future. The smell of your cooking is our alarm clock. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's start saving a little more now so we can feel prepared for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need so we can live our lives to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Julie was always a voracious reader. She'd carry 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back and read it again.
I don't remember much these days after I read, but less does for me, and I love it.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight. Both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand trying to text somebody back. Because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
You're home before sunrise. On top of the house, the kids, and our future. The smell of your cooking is our alarm clock. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's start saving a little more now so we can feel prepared for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need so we can live our lives to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Julie was always a voracious reader. She'd carry 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back and read it again.
I don't remember much these days after I read, but less does for me, and I love it.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight. Both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand trying to text somebody back. Because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
Welcome back to Inside Northeast Georgia Elections.
Let's go in studio to Maddie McKinley, who has updates on some important national results. Maddie?
Tonight has been a fun night, full of no surprises yet. It's very early on, so nothing is set in stone. But at 9 o'clock, a couple of polls closed as well, such as Arizona, Colorado, Iowa, some important states like that. But so far on the national map, there's no real surprises. Donald Trump has won a lot of the southern states, which was expected. Right now in Georgia, the votes are leaning towards the Republican Party, but it's still very early. Votes are still coming in. Kamala Harris has won states such as New York, Massachusetts, Vermont, which were also expected. But it's looking pretty normal right now. We're still hopeful. Pennsylvania also is leaning towards the Democrats at the moment, but again, it's still very early. Nothing is set in stone, and we're looking like, again, a close race so far. Hopefully, we'll see some more results soon. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Maddie. We'll continue to give the most important national updates as the night goes on.
We're now going to head back to Athens, Clark County once again, where Abigail Watts has some insight from a tabulation observer at their Board of Elections office.
Abigail, what do you have for us?
I'm here today at the
Well, it's supposed to be like
elections
my
office
closing
in
remarks.
Athens, Clark County with
It's been a great
Adoris
night.
Gates,
It's been a
who is
historical election
a
here in
election
Oconee County, the
tabulation
highest
observer
voter
here
turnout.
today. So can you tell me a little bit about what you've seen today as they've been tabulating the results?
Right, so I am with a nonpartisan organization, and we are here just to monitor and make sure that nothing out of the ordinary or anything unusual pops up.
As you can
And
see,
so
we
far,
have
it's
moved
been a really
outside
smooth
because we have finished so
tabulation
early
process.
here in
I
Oconee
think this is
County.
my first time
This will be
being
my
a
last time
tabulation
reporting
observer,
because of how
and it's
great
really
the
made me appreciate poll
voter
workers
turnout
even
was here in
more,
Oconee
because
County.
there's
It was
so
a
much
historic election
meticulous
here.
hard work
The
that
most
goes into it, and they are really making sure that Clark County is having like a free and fair election, especially by including us as the observers, like, hey, do you have any questions? This is what's going on. So it's been a really eye-opening, and I would definitely say an enriching experience.
Right. Has there been anything that stood out to you about this election experience?
Oh, this with the tabulation?
Yes,
okay.
with the tabulation.
So I think one thing that has stood out is just the eye for detail that our election officials have, just as simple of like, if they're gonna count 50 absentee ballots, they're making sure that 50 come out. And just something as simple as that, I think really shows the passion and just the hard work that everybody's making sure goes into this election, just making sure every vote is counted. I think that's just been really eye-opening, because you always hear like, oh, this is happening. But to Hamilton, be in the room where it happens it's been really nice. So I was like, wow, like people really do care, and they're putting hard work into making sure, again, like votes go counted.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much for sharing your experience with us, and we'll head back to the newsroom.
Thanks so much for that, Abigail. On Election Day, you might remember from your social studies class that the popular vote does not determine the outcome.
That's right. The president is actually determined by the Electoral College, which is complicated and confusing to a lot of people. Here's a breakdown of exactly how it works.
State political parties choose their electors. Each state gets the same number of electors as it has members in the House and the Senate, and the District of Columbia gets 3 for a total of 538. A candidate needs a majority, so at least 270 to win.
On Election Day, votes go into a statewide tally, with 48 states using a winner-takes-all electoral vote system. A projected winner is typically announced soon after election night, but the Electoral College vote, when electors meet in their states to vote, is in mid-December.
Those 2 states that don't use the system, Nebraska and Maine, where they don't all have to vote the same way. The Constitution doesn't require electors to vote for the party that the people vote for, but some states do require it.
Now let's head to Atlanta, where Elizabeth Hunter has an update from Trump's official watch party.
Elizabeth, what do you have for us?
Yep, Mike Collins, who's actually the representative for all of the counties we're covering except for Jackson, was one of the last speakers to go on stage, and he was telling the Republican people here to go ahead and start celebrating, to pop the champagne. And right now, Trump sits at 195 votes, so there is a lot of celebrating going on. Georgia reached record-breaking early voting turnout. On Friday, the Secretary of State said that over 4 million Georgians turned out for early voting. Now, 92 counties exceeded 50% turnout, which is unheard of. And poll worker Misty Harden, she's a poll worker for Hall County. I talked to her, and she told me a little bit about what they've been seeing there.
Beg for a 5-minute bathroom break. I mean, we have to hope that the line will break so that we have time to go grab a sip of water or use the restroom. One of the first days I worked, we had over 1,600 voters in one day. So, I mean, that's just crazy to me.
Now, we still haven't heard for the votes for Georgia, but right now, as of 9:13 p.m., Trump still sits ahead of Harris with 52% of the votes. Back to y'all.
Thanks so much, Elizabeth. Just last month, Donald Trump held a rally in Cobb County, Georgia. He was emphasizing key issues like immigration and the economy.
Grady Newsource reporter Riley Kehoe was on the scene.
Supporters lined up for hours at Tuesday's Trump campaign rally, eager to hear the former president address the key issues of the 2024 election.
I'm here to be energized, to see him in person and to be part of the movement that is MAGA.
I am here to see the best president that we've ever had. I'm so excited, and just want to hear more about his policies and how he's going to close the border. I think that's my biggest issue right now.
At his rally in Cobb County, a crucial area that shifted from red to blue between 2016 and 2020, Trump focused heavily on immigration.
The savage monster who murdered Lincoln was let in and released into our country by Kamala Harris.
He called for the death penalty for migrants who kill U.S. citizens. To gain further insight on this claim, I spoke with UGA political science professor Dr. Charles Bullock.
That when people run for office, they promise they're going to do things they can't do. So, for example, as president, you could not unilaterally say, death penalty to all migrants who kill Americans. No.
Trump also warned the crowd that we are on the brink of World War III, blaming Vice President Harris for various national issues.
Everywhere you look under Kamala Harris, the American standard of living is in a free fall. Nothing works. You ever notice nothing works? It's like everything they touch turns to a lesson.
Dr. Bullock outlined the strategy behind Trump's campaign, emphasizing the key methods used to engage voters.
Well, it's been his total strategy. I mean, if you're watching any of the TV advertising that he's putting out, none of it is talking about vote for me because of my positive elements. No, it is all, here are the terrible things that will happen if Kamala Harris becomes president. So
People of Georgia are going to end Kamala Harris.
For Grady Newsource, I'm Riley Kehoe.
We'll hear from reporter Sophie Strack with a watch party update from Athens, Clark County in just a moment.
But first, this past weekend, Vice President Kamala Harris held her final Georgia rally in Atlanta, urging Georgians to make their voices count on issues like abortion rights and unity.
Grady Newsource reporter Riley Kehoe was also there on the scene. Let's take a look.
Say vote! Say vote!
Outside the Atlanta Civic Center, thousands braved the heat to hear Vice President Kamala Harris at the When We Vote, We Will Win rally.
I see smiles, I see excitement, I see fun, I see peace, and definitely I stand for that, and I'm looking for that, and I'm looking for her to, let me know more of how she's going to unite this United States.
Harris called for unity, stressing that every vote helps shape a nation where all voices are heard.
And here is my pledge to you. As president, I pledge to seek common ground and common sense solutions to the challenges you face. I am not looking to score political points. I am looking to make progress.
Political science expert Dr. Johnson sees parallels between Harris's message and Obama's 2008 campaign, highlighting the challenge of bridging deep divides.
I bring that up because, once in office, it was a huge challenge. You saw polarization and division, and one would arguably say that things have perhaps become even more tense.
Harris took a firm stance on abortion rights, criticizing recent state bans without exceptions.
In America, 1 in 3 women lives in a state with a Trump abortion ban, including Georgia and every state in the South except Virginia. Many with no exceptions for rape and incest, which is immoral. And look, Donald Trump's not done. He will ban abortion nationwide.
Trump's campaign says he plans to leave abortion laws up to individual states. For many attendees like Jerome Lewis, abortion rights are a top concern.
Roe versus Wade, we have to get this back on the books. Too many women dying, being raped and sodomized, and got to have babies by someone that raped them is wrong.
Dr. Johnson noted that the issue is mobilizing voters, especially women.
And that might resonate with not just perhaps younger voters, but perhaps older women voters who remember pre-Roe.
Harris closed the rally with a hopeful message. Real change is possible, but only if people show up to vote. Reporting for Grady Newsource, I'm Riley Kehoe.
We now go to Oconee County with Holly Kate O'Brien for updates from the Board of Elections office. All precincts there are reported and the results are in. Holly Kate?
Yeah. As you can see, I am now outside of the Board of Elections office with an empty building and the lights off behind me. The election staff has packed up their things because of how fast the votes got back here. As we heard from Jay Hanley earlier, Board of Elections chairman, this is the best voter turnout they have ever.
We apologize for some technical difficulties. The night will continue and more votes are continuing to be tallied up. The precincts in Oglethorpe County have finished their count and now face the results.
Let's go see what reporter Sarah Coyne has to say all the way from Oglethorpe County. Sarah?
I am Grady Newsource.
Hey guys, so I was able to speak with Jane Kidd, who's the chair of the Oglethorpe Democrats, who says that she is more than happy with these results. They were hoping for that the county would be 30% Democrat, and the county was just shy of that goal by 2.5%. Now, there was a 78% voter turnout with 8,871 votes cast. Now, that's all you'll hear from me for the rest of the night. Have a great night.
Thank you for that, Sarah. Now let's head to Sophie Strack at the ACC Dems Watch Party in Athens, Clark County.
Sophie, how are things going there? Sorry, we're having some problems, but after the break, we'll take a look at the importance of battleground states in this year's election, with 7 key states holding the power to decide the outcome of this race.
We'll also take a look at the election safety measures taken in Barrow County. Finally, we'll tune back into some of our live correspondents, including a check-in with our digital team.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
You know, a lot of people say, when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, it's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. And I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right. Because a few hours ago, in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
There is a road laid out for me.
First night here, but Amy seems cool.
Leading down to the river. I am blind, but I need not see.
What do you think?
I know this road is there for me. If I'm really free, take me down to the river and walk.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
You know, a lot of people say, when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, it's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. And I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right. Because a few hours ago, in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
There is a road laid out for me.
First night here,
but Amy seems cool.
Leading down to the river. I am blind, but I need not see.
What do you think?
I know this road is there for me. If I'm really free, take me down to the river and walk.
Welcome back to Inside Northeast Georgia Elections.
Battleground or swing states play a vital role in U.S. presidential elections because of their unpredictable voting patterns, often swinging between Democratic and Republican.
Reporter Maddie McKinley is in the studio with us to tell us more on why these states are so important.
Unlike reliably blue or red states, battleground states tend to have tight races and hold valuable electoral votes that can tip the scales. Though numbers might be close, historically states like Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina have leaned Republican, voting Democratic only once since 2000, while Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania have shown the opposite trend. This unpredictability is why candidates invest so heavily in these states, vying for the support of undecided voters. With 270 electoral votes needed to secure the presidency, just a few battleground states could determine the outcome. We'll be closely following those results as they unfold.
Thank you, Maddie. Now let's head to Sophie Strack at the ACC Dems Watch Party in Athens, Clark County.
Sophie, how are things going there?
Optimistic. The crowd has begun to die down a little bit as the night's gone on, but a lot of people are still here watching results come in. Lexi Doherty told us that there's still a long way to go, but there's still more votes to be counted. And some think Harris will win, and some are not so sure. The Harris campaign has targeted women in this final stretch of the campaign. Vice presidential candidate Tim Walz said in a speech in Detroit that tomorrow, women across all America of every age, both parties, are going to send a loud message to Donald Trump, whether he likes it or not. I spoke to Jessica Weinstein, who's in charge of Georgia Women for Harris here, and she said, women are going to save this election. Women are going to show up for her, the same women that did not show up for Biden. She says she feels cautiously optimistic about this race. Harris has also gained a large media presence throughout her campaign. She even made a surprise guest appearance on SNL, the sketch comedy show, appearing alongside actress Maya Rudolph, who impersonates her on the show. Locals here express how crucial this has been for the young vote. Grady Newsource, Sophie Strack.
Thank you for that update, Sophie. Now let's head back into Atlanta, where Elizabeth Hunter has an update from Trump's watch party.
Elizabeth, what do you have for us? Technical difficulties, so we're going to go to Oconee County, back with Holly Kate O'Brien, who has updates from the Board of Elections office, where all precincts have been reported and the votes have been counted. Holly Kate, what do you have for us?
Well, now I am outside of the building. It is a dark up there things because of how quickly everything happened here for the election here in Oconee County. As we heard from Jay Hanley, chairman of the Board of Elections earlier, 86%. This is the last time you'll be hearing from me tonight because of how quickly things have happened here in Oconee County. But I'm looking forward to hearing what's next and what's going to happen in Northeast Georgia for the rest of the night. And with that, I'm Holly Kate O'Brien, Grady Newsource.
Thank you so much for that really final update, Holly Kate.
With the high tensions and close races this election season, you may be feeling stress, anxiety, worry, or even all of the above.
And while mental health experts say it's important to feel all those emotions, it's also critical to take a step back and focus on managing all that stress.
Definitely. CNN's Mandy Gaither has more on how to cope with election emotions today and after it's all said and done.
Getting some results in, but we are getting some results in, and I just want to take a moment right now to welcome up and speak to y'all for a moment. I will say
what keeps occurring, in the patients that I've been taking care of, it's just the degree of uncertainty. And I think for a lot of folks, being able to tolerate that is very, very difficult.
Dr. Nicole Tarui with El Camino Health says the first step to managing election emotions is to tune into your own personal needs. You alone know your capacity to manage stress and anxiety, so she says to key into your feelings and be aware of early warning signs that you may be getting overwhelmed.
being able to assess our bodies, how are we feeling, and then being able to recognize when we need to take a step back and focus in around self-care.
Tarui says that self-care can include deep breathing, practicing mindfulness, maintaining a healthy routine. She also recommends what she calls worry time.
So just like 10 to 15 minutes per day, journaling about some of those worries and fears, and then being able to close that and put that away for the day and knowing you can return to that the next day.
During the election and afterwards, Tarui says the support of friends and family makes it easier to process difficult things. So she says to stay connected. And no matter the election outcome, she says be mindful of the things you can control.
It's a lot easier said than done, but I think that when we can really hone in our energy on the things that we do control and let go of the things we don't, it can help us move forward, even in the event we're faced with an outcome we don't like.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Now, let's check back in with our analysts in the Peyton Anderson Forum right here at Grady.
Jake, what do you have for us up there?
So next I want to talk about Gen Z voters, because every election there seems to be all this talk, oh, Gen Z is going to come out in force this time, and it never happens, even though Gen Z are the youngest voters and tend to be more politically active than people a little bit older than they are. Why do you think that the turnout among Gen Z is so low? I'll start with you this time, Professor Watson.
Well, historically, younger voters vote with less regularity than do older voters. The older you get, the more likely you are to vote by demographics. That's the reason why we see campaigns spending so much money on cable television ads, because that is something that's consumed by older demographics. We have seen some performances, some increases in younger voters in certain election cycles, including in the 2020 race, where they actually had increased their vote share. So it's not entirely dismal for younger voters, but I think it's probably unrealistic at this point to anticipate that Gen Z is going to vote at the same level that boomers do.
Would you agree with that, Dr. Haynes?
Yes. Now, they're probably going to vote at higher levels than perhaps in more recent past elections. But, if you think about it, very often the candidates aren't really talking to them. They're not talking about issues that may be resonating with them. And this year, we've seen some of the candidates, especially as they are directed towards young men and women, talking to them more directly, going to the places where they are. So that may be something that is driving some of them to turn out at higher rates. When you are dealing with slivers in close elections, candidates are going to talk to them more, and when they talk to them more, they are more likely to get some of them to participate.
So the conflict in the Middle East between Israel and Hamas has been a contentious topic among young voters. Do you think that the continued support of Israel from the Biden-Harris administration has affected Gen Z's willingness to turn out in this election in particular?
Well, I mean, I think, they're certainly more progressive than where the bulk of the rest of the party is on this issue. But I think the greater concern regarding the Israeli conflict is with voters in Michigan, where there's a very large Arab population.
I think that's all we have for this segment.
Thank you so much for that, Jake. Now let's check in with Grady Newsource reporter Ryan Lynch at the Barrow County Board of Elections office.
Ryan, what can you tell us out there?
Well, guys, for a while here now, we weren't getting a lot of results here in Barrow County. But now we're here to let you know that former President Donald Trump has secured over 30,000 votes here in Barrow County, leaving Vice President Kamala Harris with just under 13,000. Now, this isn't too surprising, given the county's former voting history. In 2020, Trump won over 70% of the vote over current President Joe Biden. That's all I have for you guys right now. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks so much, Ryan. Now, with the increase in political violence since 2020, some counties are taking extra measures this year to keep their voters and poll workers safe today and tonight, including Barrow.
Elizabeth Hunter has more on how they're keeping their polling locations secure.
For 7 years, Jean and Ronnie Morrow have been poll workers for Barrow County.
We really have a good time. We enjoy doing it.
However, Morrow says one thing that does concern them this time around is security.
We're thinking that we'll be very busy.
This could be, we don't know what's going to happen.
And they aren't the only ones worrying. Dr. Audrey Haynes is a political expert. She says that the increase in political violence has raised concerns for Election Day.
That's the expectation. There might be some violence.
Because of this, the Barrow County Sheriff's Office is putting new safety measures in place.
We've had security sitting outside in their car. We haven't had them inside the poll. But I think this time we're going to have them. It's provided by our sheriff.
Dr. Haynes says extra security is a good idea for this election.
You always worry about what you haven't done, and it's like you don't really want to have regret if something does happen and someone is hurt.
The Barrow County Sheriff's Office said in a statement that they will be stationed inside the 8 polling locations across Barrow on November 5th. The Morrows hope the extra security won't be needed, but they are happy that it will be there just in case.
I know maybe different counties are different than us, but we've got a tight ship.
In Barrow, Elizabeth Hunter, Grady Newsource.
Now let's check in on the big races in another of our Northeast Georgia counties.
We are going to be taking a look at Madison County and some of the things going on over there.
And as a reminder, in 2020, Trump had 76% of the votes in this county, but now let's look at 2024.
So we are seeing that Donald Trump and J.D. Vance have a lead of 77% of the Madison County vote. And Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are sitting at about 22%.
So very similar numbers to what we saw in 2020.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is very reminiscent of, their past voting history. I don't really think that's much of a surprise from Madison County over there.
Nope, a very Republican county with not a single Democratic incumbent.
That's so crazy to me.
So some exciting info from Madison County, and after the break, we'll have more.
Scoring, going to the playoffs. I can't believe I missed that. Every time I'm buzzed, I spend too much time on my phone. What? I should take your phone away. No. I'll call for a ride. Wait, why does my face look like that? I'm playing with these new face filters. Okay, you know what? Yep, that's mine. But I need that back. No. Kevin! score, we're going to the playoffs. I can't believe I missed that. Every time I'm buzzed, I spend too much time on my phone. What? I should take your phone away. No, I'll call for a ride. Hey, why does my face look like that?
I'm playing with these new face filters.
Okay, you know what? Yep, that's mine. I'm gonna need that back. No. Kevin!
Welcome back to Inside Northeast Georgia Elections.
Now let's head back to Atlanta, where Elizabeth Hunter is live with Judge Richard Rogers from Cobb County at Trump's watch party.
Elizabeth, what do you have for us?
Well, like we do, Judge Presidential Commission at 25.
Oh, we're good. All right, we're here with Judge Rogers, and he's also the sheriff of Cobb County. He's been judge and sheriff for over 20 years, and he's here tonight. He's got his signed MAGA hat. And Judge Rogers, how are you feeling about the election?
I'm excited. You can see the excitement here, and I'm excited for America. Not for me, but for thee and the young America. So that's what it's all about, yes. I'm very aggressive in politics and generals and everything else, military, yeah, all that, yes. I do it all.
And which way are you hoping Georgia swings tonight?
Oh, they go to, again, of course, to Republicanism, of course, yeah. That's where it is. I hope it works. I hope it does. It should. And Trump is a good buddy of mine. Met him, many years, 2011, at the Omni Hotel. And he was there with Christopher Reeves, who was in a wheelchair, and all. And he invited me then to Trump Towers. And I said, "Oh, why?" So he brought me up there. His steward brought me up at 66th floor. And I'm waiting in this boardroom. I'm by myself. It's cold, dank, and everything. I'm waiting a little too long. I'm ready to leave. And then he walks in. And I said, "Donald, you're fired." And that was the apprentice. And he says, "Judge, nobody's ever said that before." "It won't be the last time." So that's the way it worked. Then he brought me upstairs to his apartment, showed me all the apartment, gave me a lot of his 24 karat gold plate paint. I'm still using it today to repaint and refinish my home here in East Cobb.
Awesome. Well, I know that you're very much looking forward to seeing the results, and we're going to keep covering that here for you. Back to y'all.
Beautiful.
Thank you for that insight, Elizabeth.
Something at the top of minds for some young voters: how are their favorite celebrities voting in this election?
Digital reporter Shad McMillan is live to talk about what today's biggest stars are saying and what that could mean for the results. Shad?
Thanks, Will and Melanie. Now, we all know that celebrities are just as active in elections as we are. We've seen their influences through major endorsements and through some other more creative avenues. In fact, a study was done at Harvard University, which, quote, provides rigorous evidence that voices are incredibly powerful in promoting civic engagement and altering poll numbers. Now, with that being said, we can evaluate potential voter response based off of celebrity activity. And what better way to monitor celebrities than on Instagram? Using the candidate's most popular celebrity endorsements, we can evaluate the social support behind each candidate. As shown, Kamala Harris is endorsed by Beyonce, who has 314 million followers, Taylor Swift with 283 million followers, and Ariana Grande with a whopping 376 million followers. Now, Donald Trump has been endorsed by Jake Paul, who has 27 million followers, Amber Rose, who has 24.1 million followers, and 50 Cent, who has 33.9 million followers. Now, combined, Combined with their own Instagram followings, Kamala Harris sits at a whopping 992.2 million followers, and Donald Trump sits at 107.2 million followers. Now, although the number of social media followers behind a candidate is no representation of national votes, this information can give us an idea of exactly what kind of support is offered from the social media airspace. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Chad.
And now we're going to be headed over to Sebastian Baggett in Madison County, where he's live at their Board of Elections office.
Sebastian, how's it going over there?
Thanks, guys. So here in Madison County, they are all done counting the votes. The results for the State Senate District 47 race, Frank Ginn has 12,241 votes from Madison County, and Kanala Scott has 3,960. The State House of Representatives District 123 race, Rob Leverett has 7,966 votes from Madison County. Hope S. Beard has 2,676 from Madison County. The Chairman Board of Commissioners District 1, Dennis F. Adams has 2,705 votes from Madison, and Dave Ramsey has 589. Donald Trump has 12,944 votes from Madison County, and Kamala Harris has 3,748. The proposed constitutional amendment, the second one, has 8,147 votes for yes, 7,359 votes for no. The statewide referendum has 10,000 votes for yes from Madison County, and 5,303 votes for no from Madison County. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Sebastian.
And now into Jackson County, where Grady Newsource reporter Christian Andrade is live to bring you local elections results.
Christian, how's it going over there?
Thanks, guys. We're doing pretty good. We almost got all of the voting in. 3 out of 4 precincts. We got South, Central, and North have all been submitted. We're just waiting on the West precinct, which also happens to be the biggest one, so that could maybe make a difference, but no surprises so far. There's not a single Democrat who has over 22% of the votes on the ballot. So it's pretty much Republican all the way. But there is one Republican candidate who's down. Here in the Special County Commission for District 3, it's a Republican versus a Republican. So that's why one of them's down. It just kind of makes sense. But we got Ty Clack versus Steve Witry, both Republicans, like I said. Ty Clack right now has 51.78% of the votes, and Witry has 35.11% of the votes. So, yeah, there you have it. Witry's going to have to pick up some slack if he wants to catch up to Clack. Back to y'all.
Thank you, Christian. There are more than just physical obstacles for this year's election. Many voters are voicing concerns over the wording of certain questions on the ballot.
Grady Newsource reporter Jackson Rowland tells what voters can expect at the polls.
Early voters in Athens are voicing mixed opinions on this year's ballot.
The wording of the amendments was incredibly confusing and badly written and sort of designed to confuse people.
It was easy. It was really self-explanatory. I didn't have a problem with it. I mean, everything was clear.
They're talking about the amendments and referendum at the bottom of this year's ballot, which some voters say are confusing. One of these questions is about a change in homestead exemptions for Georgia.
I think that first one's really focused on when people's home values go up quickly, do their taxes go up quickly too, or do you kind of let it move up more slowly so people don't have a kind of surprising really big bill if their county waits a while to appraise and your appraisal goes way up?
The Second Amendment proposes the creation of a new tax court in Georgia, similar to the federal tax court.
The second one is about court cases about taxes are running through the regular court system now, and this would create a special court that would allow people with specialized knowledge to kind of focus on those tax cases, and it should kind of improve the flow of how those cases are dealt with.
For more information, visit the Secretary of State's website to view a sample ballot and question summaries. Getting you ready to vote on Grady Newsource, I'm Jackson Rowland.
Now we'll head over to Maddie McKinley with an update on local elections.
Now that we give you the presidential results here in Barrow County, it's time to give you the results for the House of Representatives. Republicans here in Barrow County backed former President Donald Trump for the presidency, and they'd like they backed Mike Collins for the House. He secured over 30,000 of the votes here in Barrow County, compared with Lexi Doherty's 12,000. That's all I have for you in Barrow County tonight. Thanks for watching.
Thanks so much, Ryan. And now let's check in on our national results.
Now we're heading to Maddie. Maddie, what's going on across the country?
Right now, it's looking very red, but this is what political scientists have referred to as the red mirage. So it seems as if Republican votes seem to be counted first because Republicans tend to live in rural areas, which get counted faster. And then we'll see a blue shift where more Democratic votes will come in. So right now we have Donald Trump at 189 Electoral College votes and Vice President Kamala Harris at 99. Again, it's very early in the night. We are only just beginning, but we are seeing some early leads in Iowa, which I previously mentioned. It's a usually red state. Again, it's super early, but Kamala Harris does have a little bit of a lead. North Carolina and Georgia, some pretty big swing states, are leaning towards the Republican candidate Trump. And again, it's still early. There's no telltale signs of who's going to win those states exactly, but it's going to be amazing. We still have a whole other side of the country that has not even started counting ballots yet, and so it's going to be a very interesting race. Back to you guys.
Thanks so much, Maddie.
Stay tuned for more live coverage of the 2024 presidential election in Georgia.
Never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far. A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
Thank you.
Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
Your home before sunrise. On top of the house, the kids, and our future. The smell of your cooking is our alarm clock. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's start saving a little more now so we can feel prepared for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need so we can live our lives to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far. A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
Thank you.
Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. this place that I call home.
Your home before sunrise. On top of the house, the kids, and our future. The smell of your cooking is our alarm clock. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's start saving a little more now so we can feel prepared for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need so we can live our lives to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Things aren't playing. It's not going? No. It's not going. As each new student coming into the University of Georgia, Georgia has many opportunities. First, let's start. As each new class enters the University of Georgia, they bring a drive to become more academically aware and societally educated. The University of Georgia's freshman class has over 6,150 students. For election 2024, Georgia is considered a swing state, and attention may wonder if college-age students are swiping off or logging in to watch the election results tonight. Currently, the state has almost 900,000 active voters between the age of 18 to 24, which is the most out of any other voting age population. In Athens, Clark County, this consists of over 12,000 active voters. Earlier today, first-year student Clay Disherman expressed his thoughts about the 2024 election, how he ensures students should stay more informed and active in his community.
I think it's important to watch the election tonight because, you're getting to watch it firsthand and you're getting to see the process unfold. If you just look back in a few days and see the results, you're just going to see a bunch of blue and red. You're not going to see all of the votes that turned out, all of the changes, all of the trends that you would see if you were to watch it live. So, yeah.
There is a lounge located on each floor in Russell Hall where you can find about 15 to 20 students watching the news. 3 months ago, I saw students in those seats watching the debate with Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump. Now these rooms are filled with students anticipating the final results of the election, helping to debunk the allegations that young people are not politically informed and create more recognition in their community. Clarice Henry, Grady Newsource.
Thanks so much, Clarice. In addition to our digital team, we also have a team of digital reporters bringing you the most up-to-date results throughout the night.
And digital reporter Jordan Whitning is podcasting throughout the night on SoundCloud. He'll be bringing you interviews with our expert panel, live coverage of the results, and more.
Give her concession speech here as Mike Collins has been named the winner of this congressional race. The speech was followed by a lot of booing in the crowd, and Doherty mentioned that that her work is not done yet, and that it doesn't end at the ballot box. But there's still a lot of time left and more votes to come in for this presidential election, and there's still a good amount of people here coming in and watching the votes come in. Right now, Donald Trump has a slight lead over Harris in Georgia with 80% of votes reporting, but there's still lots of votes to come in. Grady Newsource, Sophie Strack.
Thank you, Sophie. Now let's do a quick recap of the results in Oconee County.
Oconee County is completely reported at this time, so let's go check on those races. All right, we're taking a look at the Oconee County special election, where 65% of voters voted yes on this, and 34.71 voters. All right, let's move on to the statewide referendum. Now, the statewide referendum was asked to every single Georgian, and these are the results that we're seeing from Oconee County. 77.30% of voters voted yes, and 22.70% of voters voted no to this statewide referendum.
And as a reminder, that statewide referendum would increase property tax exemptions from $7,500 to $20,000, so a $12,500 increase.
Let's move on to one of the proposed constitutional amendments, which is the House Resolution number 598, where it was a pretty close race in Oconee County. About 54% of voters voted yes on it, and about 46% of voters voted no. And once again, that is the proposed constitutional amendment for House Resolution number 598.
Yep, and now the other House resolution also in favor of yes at just under 64%. And a reminder, those two proposed constitutional amendments, one of those possible tax break for homeowners. The other one could establish a tax court in Georgia with judges appointed by the governor and with approval from the Georgia Senate and the House Judiciary Committees, and there would be 4-year terms.
Now, once again, this is just a microscopic view of just one place in Georgia. We'll still have to wait on those results for, the whole state and see what those statewide referendums and the constitutional amendments really, we'll have to see what their turnouts are later.
100%. And now looking at the Board of Education in Post 4 and Post 5, those votes leaning Republican. Not surprising to see out of Oconee County, Adam Hammond with just over 3/4 of the votes in Post 4, and Brock Toole with just under 64% of the votes in Post 5 for that Oconee County Board of Education. We're now going to head back to Athens, Clarke County, where Abigail Watts has some insight at the Board of Elections office.
Abigail, what do you have for us?
We've finally gotten a big update of results here at Athens, Clarke County. We now have a 56% voter turnout rate with 11,687 votes for Trump and 27,745 votes for Harris. Harris is currently up at 69.78%. And in addition to the presidential race, we're also keeping track of the race for the U.S. House of Representatives, District 10 in Athens, Clarke County. And that is between Republican incumbent Mike Collins and Lexi Doherty. Doherty is currently up at 67.49%, but we are still watching and waiting for the rest of the results, so we will continue to keep you guys updated. Abigail Watts for Grady Newsource.
That's not really too surprising to see, as we know that Athens, Clarke County has pretty much voted Democrat in the past, especially in the 2020 election. But thank you, Abigail, and we'll keep going on. Now into Jackson County, where Grady Newsource reporter Christian Andrade is live to bring us some updates.
Christian, what you have for us? Sorry, we're having some problems with Christian's mic, but we'll try to get back to him shortly. As the night continues and the votes tally up, we want to take a look at the national results.
CNN has predicted the results of several states just a couple of hours after polls have closed across the country. CNN currently predicts that Trump will secure wins in Texas, Missouri, Tennessee, Indiana, Florida, South Carolina, Arkansas, and Montana, along with others, bringing him to 171 predicted electoral votes. Once again, that is per CNN.
And on the Democratic side, CNN as well predicts that Harris has clinched Massachusetts, Illinois, Maryland, Vermont, and the District of Columbia, among others, bringing her to a predicted 81 electoral votes. And remember, a candidate needs 270 out of the 538 to win, and the night is still young. Experts predict that the outcome of the election might not be called for several days, just as we saw in the lengthy 2020 presidential election.
And no swing states have been called yet, but these 7 states are vital to the outcome of the election. In Georgia, Trump is currently ahead in the count, leading 51.9 Trump to 47.2 Harris. But only 80% of the votes have been counted, so we got to see which way this goes. The other battleground states are North Carolina, Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, Pennsylvania, and Nevada. More to come as soon as the polls along the West have literally just closed for the day.
100%. Now, the cost of living is one of the biggest issues on voters' minds today and those who voted early. In Madison County, there is a state homestead tax exemption on the ballots this year.
But local government officials are concerned about what this exemption would do to local funding. Grady Newsource reporter Lizzie Rice tells us more.
One amendment on the ballot in Georgia this election, if passed, would lower people's property taxes. House Bill 581 limits increases in property taxes year to year. Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones says the bill aims to address long-standing issues with local property taxes. Here in Madison County, Georgia, there are mixed reactions to the amendment. The local government opposes the bill, while many voters support it.
Property tax is ridiculous. So yeah, less taxes.
This puts pressure on people like Todd Higdon, the Madison County Commissioner Chairman.
I think voters are very misinformed on House Bill 581 as to what the true impact of it is.
But what the voters don't know is that
this county government's going to lose about $1.8 million.
House Bill 581, if it is passed, will force Higdon to either go against the voters and opt out of the amendment or increase other taxes in Madison County.
And I'm cut about as low as I can potentially go now. I don't think I'll be able to cut in 2025, and if this passes, most definitely there's going to be an increase.
With 1 week left to go until Election Day, the decision for local taxes is ultimately in the hands of the voters. Lizzie Rice, Grady Newsource.
After this, we'll bring you more local elections results from our counties.
Stay with us, and we'll be here after the break.
During high school, I hung with the wrong crowd and I never graduated.
I helped Santiago in many different ways, like all fathers do, because he always wanted to go to college.
I felt a little embarrassed to come back to school, but eventually, once I came here, I knew that it's for a bigger goal.
He was very dedicated, hardworking. He connected with his teachers. He connected with other students. That was one of the key reasons why he was able to keep forging ahead.
It was amazing to see him graduate. This was one thing that meant so much to him, and of course, it meant so much to us too.
With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed. That support is everything.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far.
A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
The Dutch.
Thank you.
Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
During high school, I hung with the wrong crowd and I never graduated.
I helped Santiago in many different ways, like all fathers do, because he always wanted to go to college.
I felt a little embarrassed to come back to school, but eventually, once I came here, I knew that it's for a bigger goal.
He was very dedicated, hardworking. He connected with his teachers. He connected with other students. That was one of the key reasons why he was able to keep forging ahead.
It was amazing to see him graduate. This was one thing that meant so much to him, and of course, it meant so much to us too.
With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed. That support is everything.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far.
A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
The Dutch.
Thank you.
Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
Welcome back to Inside Northeast Georgia Elections. Now let's do a quick recap of the results in Madison County.
Madison County is also completely reported at this time, so let's take a look at those races.
Yep, for the presidential race, Donald Trump is leading with just over 77% of the vote. And like we talked about, not a surprise in 2020, he was at 76% of the vote, so a very similar number.
This is also the same county where we mentioned earlier that is so Republican that not a single Democrat is incumbent this election season. So that's pretty interesting to see, but you know, like Will was saying, not a surprise.
And speaking of those non-Democrat incumbents, we have Frank Ginn here with just over 3/4 of the vote going against Connellis Scott. That's for State Senate District 47, so one of those many Republican incumbents taking the lead, and those numbers are 100% counted, so getting that victory.
Now we'll move on to Mike Collins versus Lexi Doherty. As we can see, the Republican side won this election as well with about 80% of the votes. And unfortunately for the Democratic side, they lost to about 21% of votes.
And a reminder that is just in Madison County. A lot of these votes going through different counties, but for the House of Representatives District 123, Rob Leverett, the Republican incumbent, 75% roughly of the vote against Hope Beard, the Democrat. That again for House of Representatives District 123 with 100% of the votes in Madison County.
Now, if we take a look at Alan Powell, which is one of these state House of Representatives from District 33, he is also incumbent, so he won 100%. He was unopposed.
And like Christian mentioned earlier, there are a lot of unopposed candidates in these elections. Christian in Jackson County, but seeing that in Madison County as well. And now let's check back in on our national results as the night's getting to a close.
Maddie, what's going on across the country?
Again, not a lot of movement has happened because it's still really early in the night, but Vice President Kamala Harris has officially broke 100 Electoral College votes. She has 109 right now after winning Colorado. It's honestly a toss-up right now. In the swing states, it's very close. We're seeing very close numbers. In Georgia right now, Trump is leading 52% to 47%, and 82 of the votes have still been counted, so it's still not 100% who's winning. We are seeing Pennsylvania, which was leading Democratic this whole night, finally kind of push towards the Republican side. Again, it's a very tight margin. We're not sure at all where this is going to go. It's still very early in the night. We are still seeing some new numbers from Arizona, who is looking blue right now, with only 48% of the votes counted. So it's still early, we're still unsure, and it's going to be a fun night. Back to you guys.
Thanks so much, Maddie. While the presidential race is the top of mind for many tonight, there are also some local races with high stakes.
In the Western Judicial Circuit, which includes Athens, Clark County, and Oconee County, the district attorney race is heating up. Deborah Gonzalez, the incumbent Democrat, faces a serious challenger in Kalki Yalamanchili, who is running as an independent.
Gonzalez has faced numerous lawsuits this year. One civil suit alleges that Gonzalez violated the Open Records Act by asking an employee to destroy records. And then just weeks ago, the Georgia Supreme Court decided unanimously that the lawsuit could proceed despite Gonzalez's claims of immunity. Another lawsuit by a local business owner accused Gonzalez of violating his freedom of speech rights by deleting his Facebook comments. This suit was settled. These are just a few of the controversies Gonzalez has faced during her tenure as DA.
Kalki describes himself as a nonpartisan candidate. He is an adjunct professor of law at UGA and spent more than 5 years as an assistant district attorney in the Western Judicial Circuit before transitioning to a private practice. He announced via Facebook that he will be spending the evening at Big Dogs on the River in Athens for an election watch party with his local community. Now we can see that results have flooded in for the Western Judicial Circuit DA race.
Right now, Kalki leads Gonzalez in both Athens, Clark County, and Oconee County. Not all of the ACC votes are in, but we'll keep you updated. The race is likely going to Kalki. Now let's head back to Atlanta to Elizabeth Hunter at the Trump campaign watch party.
Elizabeth, what do you have for us?
Yeah, guys, there's honestly hasn't been that much movement since the last time I talked to you. Trump has jumped to 205 votes, but here the energy has died down a little bit since we haven't seen any more updates. And right now, Trump sits at a little bit above 50% at 52% for Georgia, but it's only 10 o'clock and a lot of the counties haven't turned in votes yet. So the Republican Party is holding their breath, waiting for those bigger counties to come in to see how Georgia falls. Back to y'all.
Thank you, Elizabeth. And now into Jackson County, where Grady Newsource reporter Christian Andrade is live to bring you local elections results.
Christian, what do you have for us?
Thanks, guys. Yeah, so all the votes are finally in here in Jackson County, and no surprises. Jackson County has historically been red, and nothing is different this year. Every single Republican candidate on the ballot won, except for one, because there was one race between two Republican candidates, Ty Clack and Steve Wittry, and Wittry couldn't bring it back against Clack. He lost 34.24% to Clack's 52.63%. And as for the special countywide questions we had on the ballot, one of them was referring to a 1% T-SPLOS that would raise $200 million over the course of 6 years. That one got voted no. There's not going to be a T-SPLOS anytime soon. And as for the tax exemptions for senior citizens, that did get voted yes with flying colors. 80% voted yes to increase the tax exemptions for senior citizens. So yeah, folks, that is all for Jackson County. I'm Christian Andrade, Grady Newsource.
Thank you for that update, Christian. And I gotta say, I really love your rhymes.
I love him too. You're talking about flying colors. He's reporting with flying colors.
He's great. I love him. Well, let's check back in with digital anchors Shad McMillan and Jason Singh.
They looked at how the weight of your vote has changed depending on where you live in Georgia.
We all know that the state is separated into districts during voting season, but did you know that your district used to impact the weight of your vote?
The county unit system had been in place in Georgia since 1898. It was formally passed by the Neal Primary Act in 1917.
There were 3 separate types of counties: urban, town, and rural. Urban counties received 6 votes, town counties 4, and rural 2.
This meant that rural counties outweighed urban districts like Atlanta, as there were more rural counties. This system was in place all the way until the Gray versus Sanders lawsuit ruling in 1962. One man, one vote. I'm Jason Singh.
I'm Shad McMillan, Grady Newsource.
Thanks, Shad and Jason. After the break, we'll take a look at the key issue that candidates have tackled this election.
Stay tuned for more live coverage of the 2024 presidential election in Georgia.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back. Woo-hoo! Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
My Shiro doesn't always wear a cape, but she always has time for a hug, a smile, for going the extra mile. My Shiro stretches every dollar, puts in long hours, puts others first. But now it's your time, Mom. When you're ready to retire, we want you to be able to enjoy it. It's time to start saving now. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Visit acretirement.org.
Welcome back to Inside Northeast Georgia Elections. Let's check back in with our analysts in the Peyton Anderson Forum right here at Grady.
Jake, what do you have for us?
I'd like to spend the last of my time here tonight by reminding both sides to be optimistic but also to be cautious. For Trump supporters, even if it might look that like most of Trump's votes have been counted, there's still a long way to go in this election, and no one knows how it's going to turn out yet. On the flip side, for Harris supporters, even though it does look like Trump is ahead, a lot of major states and major cities are still yet to be counted. And even the rest of what's left to be counted that isn't a major state or city could flip to Harris. We never know. It's so unpredictable, and I would like to first thank Dr. Haynes and Professor Watson for their time tonight, and also to get their closing arguments and thoughts about this race. I'll start with you, Dr. Haynes.
Well, you said it well, and that is, in every election, it takes time to count all the votes. So regardless of whether you are a Trump supporter or a Harris supporter or someone looking at a down ballot race that hasn't been resolved yet, the best advice is go to bed and rest assured that you'll know by the end of the week.
Professor Watson.
Yeah, I think there's still a ways to go here. I think that, I think Harry Truman, did it best when he did what Dr. Haynes just suggested, just went to bed and woke up and got an outcome that he was very happy with. So I think it's a long night, so either stay up late and watch it or don't. But I think that it's certainly too early to call this race one way or the other. There's still a good ways to go, and it may be days before we know a lot of the final outcomes in this race.
I appreciate you both tremendously for your time. That is Dr. Haynes and Professor Watson signing off, and also me signing off as well. Jake Brennan, Grady Newsource.
Thank you so much for your insight throughout the night, Jake, and thank you so much to our panelists tonight, Dr. Audrey Haynes and Professor Joseph Watson.
And now we're headed over to Sebastian Baggett in Madison County, where he's live at their Board of Elections office.
Sebastian, how's it going?
Hi, guys. So like our anchors were talking about a bit earlier, Madison has a massive Republican majority, which was obviously reflected in the results. This made it very difficult for the 3 Democrat challengers that were on the Madison ballot. Most people who received the most votes on the Madison County ballot were incumbent Republicans. However, there was one local seat in Madison County that did not go to an incumbent Republican. It was the corner, which went to Scott R. Berry. He still is a Republican. He is not incumbent, however. It was a pleasure to be reporting tonight, so good night from Madison County.
Thanks, Sebastian. And now we're headed closer to home and checking in at Athens, Clark County, where Abigail Watts is live at the Board of Elections.
Abigail, what more do you have for us?
We're still waiting on updates at Athens, Clark County. All the precincts are in, but they're still working on some of those final results. Additional races that the Athens, Clark County is looking at are 2 state Senate races for District 46 and 47, as well as 3 state House of Representative races for Districts 120, 121, and 122. For all of those races, the Democratic candidates are in the lead. We will keep you updated and updated with the rest of the results as they come in.
Thank you, Abigail, and thank you all so much for joining us tonight worldwide.
From Athens
to New Zealand for Grady Newsource Inside Northeast Georgia Elections.
And for even more updated results, keep checking our digital platforms at gradynewsource.com and our social media accounts.
For Grady Newsource, I'm Will Hopkins.
And I'm Melanie Levy. Have a great night.
Stuff.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
You're home before sunrise, on top of the house, the kids, and our future. The smell of your cooking is our alarm clock. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's start saving a little more now so we can feel prepared for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personal